Mid-July weekends usually carry the expectation of packed calendars and high energy. You want to be out, socializing, and checking things off your summer list. But the astrological weather right now is going to actively resist that kind of extroversion. Looking at this lunar cycle timeline, July 9th through the 12th are squeezed into a low-energy trough, the darkest phase before the incoming new moon. Add in Mercury, Neptune, and Pluto in overlapping retrogrades, and this creates a heavy, compounding drag on your momentum. If you try to fight this timing by keeping a packed schedule, you are going to hit a wall. It requires massive exertion to move the needle right now, and pushing harder will only lead to rapid exhaustion and communication breakdowns. That puts you in a difficult position. You feel the seasonal urge to finalize projects and engage with people, but the planetary environment is demanding a complete pause. Forcing high energy output in a low energy window yields a negative return on your time and effort. Using astrological data here provides a practical tool to mitigate those risks and save your energy for when it will actually yield results. The best way to navigate this specific window is to adopt an operating mode we can call strategic contraction. Instead of viewing a stalled weekend as a frustrating delay, you treat it as an active conservation strategy. You are intentionally pulling back your physical and relational energy to build a stable foundation. The trade-off is straightforward. You pass on the immediate gratification of a big social event or a major project launch, and in return, you secure long-term alignment. By prioritizing that quiet preparation right now, you position yourself perfectly for the incoming energy spike of the July 14th new moon. You'll be rested and ready while everyone else is still recovering from the weekend. Looking at the major transits, the biggest shift to factor in hits on July 9th, when Venus leaves Leo and enters the sign of Virgo. Venus in Virgo operates on precision and practical care, but at the exact same time, Mercury is retrograde in Cancer, which notoriously causes emotional conversations to get snagged, delayed, and misinterpreted. The practical outcome of these clashing transits is clear. Verbal declarations and deep emotional talks will likely fail this weekend, but quiet acts of service will succeed. If you want to build connection, swap out the romantic grand gestures. Focus instead on practical domestic help. Fix something around the house or run an errand for your partner. This setup leads directly to our second major transit. Looking at this geometric orbital map for July 10th, you can see a precise 60-degree angle forming between the true node and Chiron. This sextile creates a very specific opening for the subtle healing of past relational wounds. The friction drops and long-standing tension can finally dissipate. This healing transit is quiet. It tends to get drowned out in high-energy social settings. Choosing a few nights of solitude over a busy weekend isn't a loss. It's how you create the necessary silence to hear what these relational wounds are actually trying to say. To physically optimize, we factor in your elemental constitution. On this matrix chart, the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, highlight the red quadrant, showing rising internal heat. Pushing an intense schedule now compounds this, leading to insomnia, inflammation, and a short temper. To maintain your stamina, you have to sacrifice high-intensity plans. Switch to swimming, stick to light cooling foods, and keep alcohol consumption to an absolute minimum. Moving over to the Earth signs, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn, this updated quadrant shows the physical alignment is entirely different. Earth constitutions thrive in midsummer heat, displaying high baseline metrics for limber movement and a consistently high mood. Add in the Venus transit into Virgo, and Earth signs are going to experience a significant amplification in their physical comfort over the weekend. When your mood is high and your body feels this limber, it's easy to assume your baseline is indestructible. That mindset often leads to a specific type of overindulgence. Earth signs are prone to overreaching with diet or alcohol during this stretch, simply because the seasonal heat makes the body feel capable of handling more than it actually should. By strictly aligning your weekend plans with your elemental physical baselines, you can navigate these retrograde cycles without burning out your reserves. The mental strategy is vital for air signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. On the chart's air quadrant, an overheating morning ties to mental capacity. Vulnerable to midsummer, Sleeping in hot spaces while over-engaging the mind leads them to severe restlessness and complete burnout. With Mercury retrograde delaying responses and scrambling logistics, that mental friction for air signs is exacerbated even further this weekend. To salvage your mental clarity, you must prioritize cool environments and fresh meals over going out and socializing. Finally, we shift to the water signs, Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. This quadrant shows maximum metrics for emotional stability and physical strength right now, as your energetic capabilities naturally peak in this season. You can safely lean into this peak energy phase. It is a highly productive window to put your head down and get focused, detailed work done. The risk for water signs is that you feel so capable right now that you begin to neglect the foundational routines that got you there, like getting enough sleep and eating measured meals. For both air and water signs, enforcing strict daily routines right now is non-negotiable. It prevents a severe energetic deficit from catching up with you when the lunar cycle inevitably shifts. When you combine a dark moon phase with Mercury retrograde, the risk of permanent misunderstanding is at its peak. Any attempt to force an all-or-nothing demand or a final relationship decision right now is likely to backfire. If you try to force finality while the moon is dark and retrogrades are active, you will face regret or need heavy revisions later. Instead, use this survival guide for the July 9th through 12th window. It comes down to 3 basic instructions: delay the talk, do the chore, and cool the body. First, delay the talk. Hold off on defining relationships or resolving major conflicts until the light returns after the July 14th new moon. Second, do the chore. Channel that practical Venus and Virgo energy by showing care through tangible actions rather than trying to articulate it with words. Third, cool the body. The physical toll of the midsummer heat intersecting with a waning moon demands lighter meals, slower movement, and deliberate hydration. Sacrificing a traditionally loud weekend to follow this checklist might feel restrictive in the moment, but it guarantees you enter the coming week with a clear schedule, 0 misunderstandings, and a rested body perfectly positioned to capitalize on the July 14th new moon.